Entrepreneurs, brand new entrepreneurs, imagine someone hands you $1,000 to start your business today, from scratch, from the ground up. How are you going to spend it? Let's break it down in today's episode. Transaction Care, the podcast. Welcome home to the #1 real estate show on the market. I am your host and resident care coordinator, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily. My goal with each episode of Transaction Care is to demystify the business of real estate from my point of view and interviews from other voices within the real estate industry around the world. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Head to transactioncarepodcast.com to join my TC community and to be sure you are subscribed to Transaction Care, the podcast, so you know exactly when new episodes are released weekly. So this conversation is actually inspired by the Nikki and Moose podcast. Shout out to Nikki and Moose. They posed this question at the end of episode 153 of their show, and it was their $1,000 brand challenge that they discussed on their show, and then they opened it up to their audience. Being the avid viewer, listener that I am, I consumed the show on YouTube. They turned the challenge to us and they said, how would you break down $1,000 if you were starting over today with no knowledge, no expertise, just $1,000? And they said, whoever has the best answer will win $500. Now, full disclosure, I'm not giving away money in this episode. I'm sorry. But stay tuned for future episodes. There may be some giveaways then. But today I want to discuss how we can leverage $1,000 to start our business and how you don't need a lot of money right out the gate to start. You just have to get going. So you definitely just want to get going. You want to get started, money or not. There are so many things we can do actively without having to spend any money, and that is what I want to get into in this episode. And I want to talk about my first year in business as a transaction coordinator versus now, today, my first year in business as a life coach specializing in confidence coaching. So what are the pros and cons? What are the differences? What am I spending on my money on now versus what I did back then? So let's just jump straight into it. My first year in business, my plan was very simple. Buy a laptop, buy ads, and get to work. Figure out the rest as I go. And prior to that, I knew I was going to quit my job. Did I know I was going to be a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, running a business? It was a 50-50 chance, to be honest. And if you've been following my journey, you know my reasons for quitting my job actually had hardly anything to do with where I am today in business, but I'm very grateful for my experiences and just trusting the journey and the process to get to this point today. But like I said, my first year in business, my plan was super simple. Literally just buy a laptop, buy ads, get to work. I already had internet. I already had a cell phone. I wasn't going to buy anything extra or anything outside of that until I started seeing profit. And when it came to purchasing ads, I think I was doing maybe like $50 here, $100 here. There wasn't any rhyme or reason to anything I was doing. I just knew I'm starting from the ground up. I need to get my face, my business, my brand out there by any means necessary. And the best way to do so is social media marketing. So I bought some Instagram, Facebook ads, and some YouTube ads. And Google ads. And I got a lot of my first clients through those ads, which I'm very grateful for, and which is why I'm still a proponent of people buying ads, because they really do work. But nowadays, because everything costs so much money, it is a lot more expensive to reach a broader audience. But we'll get into that later on. So again, my plan was very simple in the beginning. Again, buy a laptop, buy ads, get to work. But on the flip side, there were a lot of free things I did prior to starting my business. And before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that I bought a used laptop, meaning it was out of the box. Someone bought it and returned it like within the week, they told me. Ads, like I mentioned, I probably spent about $500 total. I remember my first ad, I ended up getting a client right away. So essentially it paid for itself. Like I got a return immediately. I didn't really have to spend much else because I already had the internet, like I said, and the phone. But in total, that was about, I'd say $1,200 total right out the gate. Just 2 things to get me going. And when it comes to all the free things I did prior to starting my business, I was actually just looking through my journal entries, and that was definitely one of the things I did consistently, was figuring out what direction I want to go, who I am in this whole process, and how do I want to show up moving forward. And in order to do that, I had to understand my budget, who in my life is helping me, who is hurting me, and I journaled a lot. And it's free. You just take your notes app out on your phone and you really get to know yourself. It's a form of therapy. It's not therapy, but it was great. It helped me. And it's funny because I was looking through my journal entries and there were a few from like 2015, a few more 2016, and then 2017. It was like I was journaling almost every day, if not every week. And it just almost 10x'd in how much I was just journaling and documenting the whole process as I was leading into what eventually would manifest into my own business as a transaction coordinator. Aside from journaling, I also started walking a lot. Now, for anyone out there looking to be more active, increase their fitness, increase their heart rate, and just feel better about themselves, I walked a lot to the point where I stopped driving. And walking allowed me to play podcasts and to ingest a lot of information from like-minded people or people I admired that I wanted to not be like them, but was trying to figure out, well, how did they get there? What did they do? So listening, being able to walk a lot, I was able to just listen to their stories, take notes, and take action, essentially. And many of them were like, I changed my eating habits. I changed my fitness habits. I changed my mental, emotional, spiritual habits, all of that. And they talked about other things, vision boards and manifesting and willing things into your life. So I did just that. I made a vision board. I remember we had this whole thing in my office back in the day where we did vision board days. And that really helped to make my vision more clear as to where I was, the direction I was going in my life. And I was able to have a tangible visual representation of that future for myself. That subtle yet not so subtle reminder every day at my desk. It's sitting there, and I still have vision boards surrounding me at my desk right now. But I think that is one of the practices, again, for free, that we can implement prior to even starting a business without having to break the bank. And alongside that vision board, which was actually a very tough exercise for me in the beginning, and it didn't click until maybe a year and a half, maybe even a year into my first year of business, that I realized how much this had worked. And it's a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And this exercise actually allowed me to focus on those weaknesses and those threats. It gave me the self-awareness that I needed to develop the skills and the knowledge and the tools in order to turn those weaknesses and those threats into strengths and opportunities. And it seems like a simple exercise, but it really does. It takes a lot of mental energy, physical energy, because you're challenging yourself to be honest and say, hey, I'm weak in these areas. I want to improve. And I hope that's the direction you go, is that desire to improve and get better. But I think a SWOT analysis will take you very far, because it gives you a clear breakdown of where you're at, where you need to improve, so that moving forward, you don't have to wonder like, well, where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong? You're already aware, and there's less likely of a chance of you either things falling through the cracks or you missing out on opportunities, because you're already building your reps, you're building your character, you're building up your self and how you show up in this new part of your life. And finally, one of the greatest assets to my life is I started praying again. Being around my grandma almost every single day sitting with her while she prayed, it really had a big impact and influence on me, reading daily devotionals and having that morning routine set in place that no matter what I did in this new venture, in this new career, I start my day with a solid routine, rituals, foundation through prayer, journaling. Now I meditate, but in the beginning, it was very much just learning how to talk to God, learning how to have faith, learning how to trust the process, trust God, trust myself. And sometimes we need that pause, that stillness to just be and to feel and to experience what's actually happening. It was all free. It was all free. But in terms of how I spent my first $1,000, my first year in business, I have no regrets. I would do the same exact thing today. Of course, will it cost more money? Did it cost me more money down the line? Yeah, absolutely. I definitely found myself being a little bit impulsive and sometimes just throwing money at problems because I either had it or just didn't want to think about it. I think now, fast forward, present time, as I have recently become a certified life coach, specializing in confidence coaching, I know too much to not make those same mistakes I did in the past. I already have a laptop. In fact, I've upgraded to a Mac. I used to be a PC girl, but now I'm a Mac girl. I still believe in ads. So I will definitely be utilizing that space of the internet. Real quick, when it comes to social media, I don't think we have to post every single day in order to gain an audience. Everyone's take is different, but what I'm getting at is you can post a few times a week, a couple of times a week, and then just pay for those posts to be ads and let it just work passively behind the scenes. And then at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and end of the quarter, how much did you spend? How much did you gain back and recoup? What worked? What didn't work? Rinse and repeat. So fast forward to today as I'm launching my business for coaching, firstclassdreams.com. Go to firstclassdreams.com. More on that in the future, but go to firstclassdreams.com to learn more and to book your free discovery call. But as I'm currently launching this business, I am taking my time while I'm simultaneously advertising and putting myself out there and talking about it, not being afraid to talk about what you're doing either. I think that was another thing I should have mentioned earlier that I did in the beginning of my business. My first year was I told people what I was doing any chance I got, just because you never know where your next client is going to come from. And without having to break the bank, I'm just having a simple conversation, whether it's with a friend, a family member, a colleague, someone you just met on the streets. I was just putting myself out there. And what I've learned from my past as a party promoter, as someone that loves social media, you have to put yourself out there. Even when it feels uncomfortable, you just have to find the best way that works for you while you're also stretching your comfort zone, so that in that way, moving forward, you can build your reps, and what was once uncomfortable will then become common practice. Regardless of where you're at in your business, whether it's an idea, your first year, your 10th year, $1,000 is a lot, especially when someone hands it to you for free. If you just want to keep it simple, keep it simple. If you want to get a little bit more creative, more elaborate with that $1,000, more power to you. The whole point of this is to really explore how you're spending money. What are your priorities? What's going to get you to that next level in your second year, even within 6 months? Your life can change overnight if you stay consistent, you stay committed, and you continue to learn and grow. So let me know in the comments. Go to my Instagram or my TikTok at Transaction Care and let me know how you are spending $1,000 to start your business today. I'm really curious what to hear your answers would be, because going back to the Nikki and Moose podcast, I did submit my answers to them. Their instructions were very clear. Go to our YouTube, which I was already at, and comment your personal breakdown of $1,000 to launch a business today. So this is where the whole it pays to pay attention part comes into play. So I'm on YouTube, and my comment was $1,000 to start an online coaching podcast business. I said $500 to ads, $150 to Zoom, $120 to Canva, $100 for cloud/storage, $50 to TubeBuddy, $50 for a haircut because I gotta look fresh business, fresh look, all that, and then $30 for a domain/custom email. That was my breakdown. I made the comment and I just put it out there, not really thinking much of it. And then fast forward about a week later, I'm thinking, I wonder if they found a winner for that contest. I never heard back. I never saw a post or response. I thought they were going to announce the winner on Threads. So I actually logged into Threads just to check, and I didn't see anything. So I just let it go, whatever. So now a week goes by and they post their new episode because they are a weekly podcast. And again, I sit down. It's usually how I wind down for the evening, throw on the YouTube video on my TV. I'm watching it. Great episode. Love it. Go check it out, you guys, if you haven't already. It's the Nikki and Moose podcast. I'll put the link in my description below. But basically, I'm just sitting there minding my business. Then all of a sudden, I hear, and for anyone out there listening, this is my personal account. This is actually not my business, transaction care, or my coaching YouTube channel. This is my personal one. So if you want to follow it and subscribe, go for it. I don't post as much as I should. I probably will soon, but that's my life outside of work channel. But I'm just sitting there minding my business, and all of a sudden I hear Fire Life. And I perk up and I'm like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? So I paused the video because I can't believe I just heard my name, my YouTube channel being shouted out. And they said, this week's winner of the contest is Fire Life. And they read my exact breakdown. They screenshot my channel, shouted out my channel. This is why I mentioned it's not my business channel, because I kind of wish I commented from the Transaction Care YouTube channel to get a little bit more exposure, but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. I'm trusting the process. This is all happening for a reason. So they were like, no one else submitted an answer on the YouTube like they had said. They said that they had received some DMs, but no one submitted their comment on YouTube like it was instructed. So I won the $500. I'm still in shock because I just found this out like 3 days ago. And I'm screaming in my room. I'm laughing because I couldn't believe it. I start recording because I'm just like, so I can get a live reaction. And yeah, all because I followed simple instructions. I also found the exercise to be fun because I hadn't really given it much thought in terms of a cost breakdown. Like, okay, well, if I did have $1,000, how would I spend it to launch this coaching business or to, take my podcast to the next level? What does that look like? Because that's something I didn't do my first year. Like I said, my first year of business, my plan was very simple. Buy a laptop, buy ads, and get to work. Now, of course, would that strategy work today? Of course. I mean, I don't need the laptop, but I could buy something else, maybe a better microphone, because a lot of my coaching sessions would be online on Zoom. My podcast obviously is being recorded on Zoom, online. Maybe I can upgrade my plan on Zoom, or I can upgrade the programs that I use to edit the podcast, or perhaps I could hire someone to edit my podcast. I just see so many more opportunities and ways that $1,000 can take you so far. I'm pretty sure if I handed someone $1,000 today to edit my podcast or create clips for me, that can take me a long way, and I could essentially make that money back and leverage it in so many different ways that it's going to come back to me almost tenfold. Maybe not today, but throughout time. Because I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking short term and long term and in between. But as long as I'm continuously planting those seeds and monitoring them and taking care of them, and also just letting them do their thing. Much like how I submitted my answer to this question of how I would spend $1,000, It took me less than 5 minutes, and essentially I won $500. No questions asked. They didn't ask me to do anything extra. They didn't ask me to shout them out. They didn't even ask me to do this podcast. I'm doing this because I think it's a great topic. I think it's a great way for us to challenge ourselves, to expand our mind and how we view money. Had I not paid attention to the slightest of details, submit your answer on YouTube, I would have made a $500 mistake. So again, it pays to pay attention. So that opportunity really just woke me up, and it instilled a fire in me. Hence, Fire Life, fearless individuality yields abundant healing. And it really just motivated me to know, and it assured me that I'm doing the right thing, and that I could actually take this plan and put it into fruition and make it happen right away. I'm halfway there. Essentially, I just got paid $100 a minute just for simply submitting the answers. So however $1,000 may show up in your life, it could even be $100. It could be $10. How are you going to spend that and invest that back into you, back into your business? Maybe you're not ready to launch a business and you want to just get yourself back to who you are, get to know who you are. $1,000 could be a whole month of therapy. $1,000 could be a whole month, maybe 2 months of therapy and coaching. It just all depends on who you reach out to, who you need to help you at this next stage of your life, and who's going to get you there. Like I said, I actually do really need an editor. I've reached my wit's end with editing these podcasts and these YouTubes, and I haven't checked in with myself until recently with the fact that, oh yeah, I'm ready to let go of that task. So again, I'm going to keep putting it out there until I really find someone that wants to come on and be my editor. I would love to have someone just on the team on a regular basis, just editing my content, whether it's the podcast and or social media and or YouTube. But either way, it's important for me to continuously be elevating and creating more time for myself, which means I have to allocate not just money, but tasks, my energy into different areas in order to elevate. So again, let's recap. You get $1,000 to start your business from scratch. What are you doing? Let's talk about it. Hit up the comments. If you haven't already, follow my podcast. You can listen to previous episodes at transactioncarepodcast.com. I am so grateful I get to do this every week and communicate with you all, meet you all, as well as help you in your journey and guide you. And like I said, I am fully embarking in this confidence coaching journey. So if you are someone out there looking for guidance, direction, someone to talk your goals out with, your roadblocks, I am here. You could message me, email me. All of the information will be below in the description. Or if you want to talk about this $1,000 exercise and how you can build a business from scratch with $1,000 today, let's talk about it. I'd love to hear your info, your input, your feedback, your ideas. Let's have fun, stretch your comfort zone, think big, put it into action, put it into play. What can you put into play even if you don't have $1,000? Or maybe you have $10,000, but you've just been hesitant and unsure of yourself. Let's talk about it. Let's schedule a free discovery call, and we can work through some of those things those old narratives, those roadblocks that are preventing you from moving forward, from capitalizing on yourself, investing in yourself, and moving forward in the next stages of your career and your life and your personal development. So again, firstclassdreams.com, transactioncarepodcast.com, and follow this podcast. New episodes are dropped every Monday with interviews with leading voices within the industry. So I thank you. This has been fun. And if there are more fun topics you want me to discuss on the podcast, or if you want to come on the show and talk about this topic more in depth, let me know. I'm here. Message me, comment, and I appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, go rate the podcast, give it 5 stars, give it 1 star, 3.5 stars, whatever speaks to your heart. I appreciate it all. I'm open. Any honest feedback, love, hate, it's all welcome. I can handle it. And I also know how to use the block button. So either way, it is what it is. But I thank you for tuning in every week. Please share this podcast with someone you know that this could benefit. And feel free to message me if you have questions or you would like to collaborate, be on the show. Let's talk about it. I'm always open to the discussion and taking it from there. Also, before I wrap up this episode, my TC community is now available for $14 a month. What does that include? Everything on the site except for calendar access to me for unlimited coaching and consulting. So it is a subscription-based platform. Aspiring, budding entrepreneurs, specifically transaction coordinators within the real estate industry that just need that extra guidance, but also want to learn and grow on their own time. So mytccommunity.com to learn more. But until then, this has been another episode of the Transaction Care Podcast. My name is Lillian Hernandez, aka Lily like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode. But until then, I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon.